Hey cyber students, have you ever wanted to ask your parents a question? Or congratulate your friend on an accomplishment? Or tell your brother and sister to go clean their room? Well, today we're going to learn about basic English grammar and sentence structure so that you can say anything that you need in order to express yourself. Make sure you have a pen, a pencil, and something to write down on. And don't forget, if you need a moment to pause to figure anything out, you can always stop the video. Remember, this is a competency, so stay focused. You'll need this information in the future. Let's start with a review of our basic sentence structure. Each sentence needs a subject, which is the noun that performs the action. The action is another way of saying the verb. And finally, the object is the noun in the sentence that receives the action. For example, the teacher used the printer. In this example, the teacher is the subject, used is the verb that the teacher performs, and the printer is the object that receives the action. Pause this video now and try to find the subject, verb, and object in these four examples. Are you all done? Let's check your work. In this first example, the boy kicked the ball. If you put boy as your subject, kicked as your verb, and the ball as your object, congratulations. Let's look at the others. The girl typed on the computer. The girl is your subject, typed is your verb, and computer is your object. The father is the subject, chased is the verb, and the baboon is your object. Mother set the table. Our subject, what she did, and what she did it to. Alright, let's jump straight into the activity. The first two types of sentence we'll learn is a simple sentence and a compound sentence. A simple sentence is just what you did for the do now. A sentence that has one subject, one object, and one verb. Such as, Nyle plays football, Mandla teaches math, James G reads the book. Just like we did in the first part, Nyle is the subject, plays is the verb, football is the object. And the same goes for each sentence. Now, why don't you take a moment and try to create 3 simple sentences of your own. The next type of sentence is a compound sentence. Sometimes we have many verbs, many objects, and many subjects. Let's take this as an example. Andrew, James G, and Cora are building a table. Andrew, James G, and Cora are all the subjects. Our building is our verb, and a table becomes our object. What this means is that all 3 subjects are doing the same verb to the same object. We can also have multiple subjects. For example, in this sentence, Gianna and Nyle walked to the river and saw some fish. Here, Gianna and Nyle are the subjects, walked and saw are the verbs, the river and some fish are both the objects. And finally, Ryan is baking a cake and boiling chicken for dinner. In this example, Ryan is the only subject, but he is both baking and boiling. What is he baking? A cake. What is he boiling? Chicken for dinner. Let's try some on your own. Take a moment, pause this video, and write 4 compound sentences about something that you do during the day. Now that we understand simple and compound sentences, the next two we're going to do are special sentences with special symbols that indicate exactly what you want to use them for. The first one is a question or an interrogative sentence. This is indicated by this symbol called a question mark. It is used whenever you want to find information about the person that you are talking to. Remember, they also need a subject, a verb, and an object. However, you also need to include some question words, such as what, where, when, or how. Let's think. Some of the questions you might ask are, do you know where the bathroom is? Where do you live? What time did you wake up? Let's try some on your own. Take a moment and ask 3 questions to the President of Somaliland if he were in your house right now. Did he answer your questions? Awesome. Let's move on to the next symbol, which is an exclamation mark. This is in an exclamatory sentence, which are used whenever you want to express anger or excitement. For example, I hate the rain. Wow, you look so beautiful today. Let's try some on your own. Pause me again and write 4 sentences of things that make you happy or excited. Now that we're masters of the 4 basic English sentences, let's try it out in a paragraph, because that's where things get a little bit more confusing. Take this for example. Trudy Hall wakes up in the morning and gets up from her bed at 6 a.m. She brushes her teeth and takes a shower. She puts on her clothes and ties her headscarf securely. After, she makes her morning coffee and eats a healthy breakfast. She walks to the school building and says good morning to all of her wonderful students. What's your morning routine? Let's take a moment, pause this video, and see if you can identify the subjects, verbs, and objects in each of these sentences. After, try to identify the type of sentence within this paragraph. Are you all done? Let's check your work. Let's look at the first sentence. Trudy Hall is the only subject. Gets up is the only verb, and from her bed is the only object, which makes this a simple sentence. The second sentence is a compound sentence because she does multiple actions to multiple objects. Let's take a look at line number 5. There is not only an exclamatory sentence, but also a compound sentence. Now that we feel comfortable writing all the different types of English sentences in paragraphs as well, let's try making our own. Why don't you write a paragraph using all the English sentences we learned today about your morning routine? Remember, a simple sentence is a sentence with one subject, one object, and one verb. A compound sentence is a sentence with more than one subject, multiple verbs, and multiple objects. An interrogative is another way of saying a question, and an exclamatory is a sentence using an exclamation mark in order to identify your happiness or your anger. Remember, these are 7th grade competencies that you need in order to move on to the next level. If you need more practice, check out IXL in the link below. If you feel that you're comfortable with this and you would like to move on to more complex sentences, check out the Intermediate English Grammar video in this channel. Practice, 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 and I'll see you next time.